Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, misclick there. Good afternoon. Hi, I'm here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a special edition of Hoopsville. I'm your host, Dave McHugh, a postponed show from Sunday afternoon. We apologize to everybody who was expecting us to be on the air Sunday. Let's just say a long week, or set of weeks, coupled with a cold that has clearly been going around the family and the area, got the best of me. Anyway, we are back on a Tuesday afternoon. We hope you enjoy this one. We have a few good guests to come on. We'll also talk about the first 2 weeks of the season and some important games taking place tonight. We'll talk about that as well. You can always tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. You can email us, hoopsville@d3hoops.com, or join us on Facebook. Facebook.com/Hoopsville. That's all the ways you can interact with us. We got our email up, got our tweet deck up, we got everything up, and hope you'll dive in and enjoy this with us. Done our best to promote. We have been under the weather, plainly, obviously, clearly. I'm drinking as much hot fluid as I can possibly get into me. I am teed and coffeeed out, but I am doing it nonetheless as I take another sip. Luckily, with the timing today and my life, this is real caffeine. Keeps me moving today. We'll enjoy it nonetheless. Try to promote best we could. Wanted to try something new since we were going to get postponed. We figured, why not? Let's try a Tuesday afternoon show instead of just blowing it off before the holiday. Meaning we would go a week and a half between shows. So we thought we'd try this mid-afternoon idea. It's something we may dabble in the future as well. There's a couple shows I can think of where we might slide to a Monday afternoon, maybe, for example. One of them in particular would be right after the first December weekend when I'm at soccer championships. I in the past have hightailed back and done a show on that Sunday, I think. I also may have skipped it. I kind of remember watching some basketball one year. Anyway, we may do a Monday show instead. That way we keep with the content, but the stress of driving back on Sunday. From Greensboro, in this particular case, would be a little bit less on us. But we'll cross that bridge when we get a little bit closer. That's a week and a half away. 2 weeks away, really. And we'll cross that bridge. Also, that also may mean we may skip out that Thursday show. We've tried to put a podcast together for that Thursday show prior and air it. And I remember last year pulling off the side of the road and launching the show. We'll cross that bridge as well. Really, the basics come down to this, folks. We don't want to blow ourselves out here. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of basketball to cover. We have a long season ahead, and the idea of doing too much while sacrificing somewhere else is less and less appealing as I get older. So we'll cross that bridge. Anyway, you can, again, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville. Email us, hoopsville@d3hoops.com. Join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Hoopsville. Hey, Pat, good to see you. Thank you, sir. Hope you're enjoying football. Hey, speaking of upsets, quick note on football. 3 significant upsets in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Pretty freaking incredible. I was even enjoying watching some of the games while calling basketball games. In particular, I was watching Muhlenberg Del Val in the middle of a game at one point and couldn't hold myself back. But congratulations to Randolph Macon, who upset John Carroll. Obviously, Muhlenberg over Del Val, and I know, I can see the other one. I'm just drawing a blank. I know Platteville got beat, but anyway, the third upset. Congratulations. Awesome start. And then congratulations to all 8 programs who are in the men's and women's soccer championships. Looking forward to calling the soccer championships with Ira Thor once again this year. The 4 teams on the women's side, 4 teams on the men's side. An upset there, too, is Rochester upset Messiah in men's soccer. What was significant about that? St. Norbert over Trine. Thank you, Pat. That was it. St. Norbert over Trine. Darn it. I knew that one. Trine was on my mind. I don't know how I got that one out. Missed that one. So anyway, really significant because Messiah had to move their soccer tournament to Rochester due to the weather. They could not host the game at Messiah. The games at Messiah got moved to Rochester. And Rochester ended up taking advantage of that, moving through. Shows you how important home court advantage is when we talk about things in basketball. It hasn't always panned out that way. I think the track record on the men's side in the Sweet 16, Elite 8 rounds, I think less than half of home teams get to the Final Four. But again, it can have a boost, and you don't want to discount that in any way. Anyway, congratulations to the teams moving on to the next round of the football championships, and those at the Final Four in soccer. And congratulations to Emory women's volleyball upset Calvin. One loss, Calvin got upset in volleyball championship. So just a few championships I wanted to get out of the way. Congratulations here early in the program. We do talk about it on time to time. Hey, let's talk about the top 25 a little bit, shall we? Ryan Scott would be on here shortly. A number of losses, not overly surprising considering how much time. Top 25 not coming out this week. It'll come out next week. Quirk with November. Quirk was starting November 8th with the season. A Quirk with technically there being 4 Thursdays in 5 Thursdays in November, which kind of makes Thanksgiving a little early per se. And so just a little quirk. We'll have our first poll next week. But, a number of losses we've talked about a little bit. We're not surprised on the men's side, but you feel for a team like St. Olaf right now. 0-4 to start. They've got Bethany Lutheran coming up this weekend. They've lost to Eau Claire by 5, lost to Stevens Point, real low-scoring affair by 13. That tells me a lot about Stevens Point. Could we have a deja vu to the, the 2016 team that was so low-scoring, their defense clicking on all cylinders with a senior class, laden class. Deja vu this year. We'll find out more about the Pointers soon enough. Then lost to Whitworth, no surprise, by 20. Lost to George Fox by 3 in overtime. I think they really needed to win that one. They got Bethany Lutheran coming up, and it's a must-win for the Oles early in this season. But we'll talk more about this stuff with Ryan Scott coming up here on the show. Also, we'll talk to Endicott's men's coach, Kevin Betancourt. They upset number 5 MIT, who, though, got back off the snide against Eastern Nazarene in their second game at MIT. And MIT's got Tufts and Keene State ahead. But Endicott with another huge win early in the year. What does this mean? Are the Gulls maybe better than people realized they were going to be this year? We'll talk to their head coach coming up. Wheaton with the other upset in the top 5. They knocked off number 2 Wisconsin Oshkosh. I didn't have Oshkosh that high in my poll, but I had them top 10. Still thought they would pretty solid. Granted, new coach per se. I understand there's a coach who's an assistant or an associate head coach who's been promoted to head coach. To be blunt, I'm not sure. Sometimes that is a bigger change than people give it credit for. Let's be blunt. And so I'm very curious to see if that's the case. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm getting a sound that there may be a hiss in our audio. I apologize. We'll keep the work on that. Shouldn't be. I have a feeling maybe in our change of computer, we upgraded some things in our computer to make things work faster. It's not necessarily working faster. As I look at my software here, we were unable to replace the software as quick as we want. That's a major change in direction. Yes, the software is there. We can use the software, but getting everything graphically and everything else moved over is a major project. We hope maybe to do it by Sunday. Anyway, so I apologize if the hiss is annoying to any of you out there. Let's see. Oh, Pat says, frankly, just want to see more regular season games played in order to help voters push past their preseason expectations. Absolutely agree with the top 25 there. As Pat points out, we want more games. We want more data. I'll freely admit, if we had voted this week, I've got 1 or 2 games out of NESCAC teams. I got maybe 4 or 5 out of some random teams. Does that really get me kind of my mindset out? I'll be honest. If you talk about St. Olaf, I think they're going to be good. I'm not voting for them. They're on my radar. I think they're going to be good. I could see some voters going, well, I'm gonna wait out St. Olaf a little bit here at 0-3, 0-4. Well, maybe not. We need more data to show whether they're as strong. Or a team like Johns Hopkins, who's lost twice already in 4 games at 2-2. I'm voting for Hopkins. I might be the kind at this point go, well, I'm going to give them a little more benefit of the doubt. Well, 1 more week of games, including in conference against McDaniel tonight, who I've seen McDaniel certainly an overhauled and improved program. I'm not sure they can beat Hopkins, but if they were to beat Hopkins, then I'm sitting on a top 25 this week of going, oh, maybe I really shouldn't have been voting for Hopkins in the first place. So we got another week there to be able to just kind of blow it all up and start from scratch. So makes a lot of sense. Certainly makes sense to me. Oh, by the way, Maryville, 0-2 start. Lost to Eastern, which really surprised me. I don't think the loss to Emory and Henry is as shocking or as surprising. Maybe by 12 is. I really thought Maryville would be better. One who really likes Maryville is Ryan Scott. We'll talk to him in a few moments, too, maybe about that. And it doesn't get much easier for Maryville. They got Emory coming up this weekend and Oglethorpe. Maryville might be in the same boat as St. Olaf. And I'll say this bluntly now. St. Olaf and Maryville may be playing themselves out of Pool C contention early on. Maybe I'm being a little extreme with Maryville right now, but St. Olaf, listen, I always support going out there and scheduling harder, better schedules, better non-conference especially. Make sure that you're going out there and you're putting your best foot forward. But here's the trick to all of that. You still need to win some games. And yes, remember Oshkosh a couple of years ago got in with 10 losses, and a lot of us, me included, rolled his eyes at that. Listen, great schedule. You didn't win more than 2/3 of your games. You won less than 2/3 of your games. To some, in my opinion, that Mendoza line is maybe a little flawed in that thinking. We need, yes, you got a great SOS. Bravo. Congratulations. Go win. And it doesn't mean barely win some. I mean, you need to go win some significant ones. So St. Olaf here, who's going to start going into MIAC play here soon, is going to have a non-conference schedule that's going to be mostly losses if they can get past Bethlehem Lutheran. They may have played themselves right out of a Pool C contention right out of the gate here in November. I'm not saying go out there and put a cheap schedule together. We certainly know teams who have done that. But you have to at least prove yourself against that schedule. That's the trick. It's a balancing act with coaches. They go out there and try and challenge themselves the best they can while knowing that their team can at least get some wins. If St. Olaf was 2-2 right now, I'd feel better about them. If their losses were to Stevens Point and Whitworth, okay, I get it. Their losses of Eau Claire and George Fox, though, really make that argument a little bit tougher. So, again, these are things that in November we're talking about that we'll still be talking about the end of February. Speaking of which, tune in Sunday, our show on the 25th. Sam Atkinson, the chair of the Men's Basketball Committee, Sports Information Director, Assistant Athletics Director at Gallaudet, will be, as we have planned right now, in studio or right over in this area to talk about the committee, talk about the process. Obviously, it's early, but we're already talking about these things. Also want to apologize. Bob Quillman was scheduled to come on Sunday's show, and obviously my illness prevented him to do that. I will admit, medication's allowing my voice to be working today. We will have him on Sunday's show, too, so Bob can even kind of feed off of what Sam has to say as well. So if you got questions for us, you know how to get a hold of us. We look forward to hearing from you. We hope there's a lot of you out there who may interact since we're doing a bit of an afternoon show here. Greg K. says, looking forward to Coach Bentoncourt's segment on Hoopsville. Excited about the Triple C Conference basketball is upon us. I agree with you. I'm excited about it myself and looking forward to seeing what Coach Bentoncourt has to say about his program, especially their big win over MIT. By the way, on the women's side, we're not forgetting about them. A few less upsets, not surprisingly. Women, a little bit more tiered, as we've discussed in the past. But I'm double checking this is the right date. No, here we go. Still a number of losses. Trine lost to DePaul. George Fox lost to St. Thomas in what was an awesome game. We talked about the Messiah and Illinois Wesleyan losses already on the docket. Marymount lost a second one, this time the Vassar, in a battle of two former Saints players who are now coaches and two Saints Hall of Famers at that Marymount game. Vassar getting the win 56-52. Marymount's got another game tonight against Shenandoah. Wash U lost to Texas Dallas to get things going, surprisingly enough, showing Texas Dallas may be stronger than we realize. That game coming, I don't remember when that was. It was over the weekend, I believe. Gettysburg at least has gotten back from their loss against Messiah, beating Juniata and Leval. Whitewater, we mentioned losing to Loris early. Montclair losing to St. Lawrence, which was somewhat surprising. Randolph-Macon, we mentioned losing. And then if you look at the receiving votes category on the women's side, there is a bunch of losses. Rochester off to an 0-3 start. Maybe there was a reason their head coach didn't want to really be considered for the top 25. Rochester lost to RIT, Baldwin-Wallace, and Babson. They got William Smith ahead of them tonight. Rose-Hulman, Gustavus Adolphus, FDU Florham, again, a team that probably shouldn't be getting any votes, lost. Calvin's lost 2 to La Crosse and Wisconsin Lutheran. Whitman has lost 2 to Eastern Oregon, non-Division III, and Texas Tyler, soon to be Division II. Albright is 1-3 to start this season, losing to Moravian, Newman, and Salisbury. Emory lost to Oglethorpe. TCNJ lost to RIT. RIT off to a good start. So it's not as cut and dry on the women's side as it used to be. And now, granted, more teams are being voted for, so thus you might incorporate some more losses. That certainly could be a factor, to be sure. What are your thoughts on St. John's in the MIAC? Listen, the MIAC's going to be tough again this year. No surprise at all. Kind of expected it to be tough. I like St. John's. I didn't vote for him, I don't think, in my top 25. Though, where is my top 25? I'm going to need that when Ryan gets here. I'm going to have to figure out. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it. I'll find it and get it back up here. Oh, here it is. It's under the other computer. I don't think I had St. John's in my top 25. I did not. I like them. I think the MIAC's going to be a battle this year. Absolute battle. St. Olaf, I did have them 19th. Oops, I'm going to be removing them. I like St. John's. They certainly started off strong, but they lost to Whitewater. But the win over Platteville, I took note of. They got lacrosse tonight. I like St. John's. I think the MIAC's going to be a battle. I think those out-of-conference games are going to be more important than people realize. I think there's going to be a real battle in the MIAC and a lot of losses. St. Thomas has yet to prove that maybe they've reloaded or rebuilt from their years of dominance. I thought St. John's might be the best team coming back. I swear I voted for St. John's. But I guess I didn't. I guess I voted for St. Olaf. We voted a month ago, so my brain is a little fried since everything I've been doing since. I don't have St. John's on my ballot, but I think the MIAC conference has gotten so exciting. So exciting. I think it's anybody's for the taking this year, though. I certainly had my fan on St. Olaf, but I'll be removing them from the top 25. By the way, another team that I really have to consider is number 9, Springfield. They've lost Jake Ross to a shoulder injury for, I would suspect, a few weeks. We may not see him to the beginning of January. That's my own personal speculation, just based on little bits of information that I've received unofficially. I've received nothing officially or talked to anybody at Springfield. But just the nature of the injury I saw, having my own shoulder injuries myself, not maybe how he injured his, but certainly my own issues. It's his non-shooting shoulder, which is good, but he's very good with both hands. They don't play a lot of games, gives them time to recover without a lot of pressure. If there's any time to have an injury, it's now for these programs. I'd rather have Ross dealing with an injury now and recovering and coming back in late December, early January, than I want to see him getting that injury in late January. It could be a deal breaker in late January, and then the pressure is to get back to help the team, and maybe you're not 100%. We saw that with MIT and Jomar last year. So, Springfield's going to maybe drop out of my top 25, even though I put them 9th, just because Jake Ross isn't on the team right now, and they're a different team without him. That's not a knock to them. They'll be back in my top 25 as soon as Jake's back and proving that the program can continue winning. Anyway, going to take a break. When we come back, Ryan Scott will join us to talk a little bit more about the top 25, also talk about some of the surprises from early in this season. And then again, coming up, we've got Kevin Bentoncourt from Endicott, also Mike Schauer from Wheaton men's basketball, and Mike Miller from Messiah. The double mics will be on the show. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA NABC Studios. We're really hoping today that our program does not crash on us, so hopefully everything runs smoothly. And with that, we go to our first break. You listen to Hoopsville. Back with more after this.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
to step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us,
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
This is why we love sports. It's in the way they play, free from the pressures and all the money talk. Playing for simply the love of the game, where everyone has a shot at their definition of success on and off the field. This is what we love about sports, and what we can still love about college sports.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
And welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this Tuesday edition of show, our Thanksgiving special, we're calling it, because, well, we weren't that creative. If you got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. Email us, hoopsville at d3hoops.com, or join us on Facebook, facebook.com/Hoopsville. Speaking of which, I was keeping track of the Facebook chats. Oh, yeah. Chris Mitchell and Chris Graves, thanks for joining in, guys. Appreciate you doing so. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can chat with us there as well. All right, so early season, what have we seen type stuff. Top 25s, what are we shaking our heads about? Lots of those kinds of things. We always turn to our D3Hoops.com partner in crime, as it were, and columnist Ryan Scott, and he joins us via the Hoopsville Skype line. Sir, welcome to the show, as always. Absolutely. I love doing this, especially via Skype. First and foremost, if we were voting this week, I think I would have been on the fence on a few teams. Some other teams I may have overreacted with in both plus and minuses. Are you kind of glad we're not voting for another week, maybe? Yeah. Right. Yeah, we even get a couple conference games in. We'll talk about that in a bit. I feel bad for a team like St. Olaf, who I did end up voting for number 19. I just realized when I went back to my top 25, 0-4 start. I really thought, I knew what they were starting with. I thought they could at least come out of this 2-2 at the best, or worst, I should say. I didn't see 0-4. I thought they could get wins over George Fox and the like. Have we overrated St. Ol's, or are we maybe with their schedule? We're you know what I mean? Are we in the middle here where it's just bad timing? Right. Yeah. Yeah, as I said early on, this could even hurt in a large chance because there's so many losses. But we'll talk plenty more about that as time goes on because they're going to be a great example along with some other teams as we move forward. Of course, they play a ton of WIAC games, and that's why their margin of error, Ryan, is admittedly smaller. Oh, I just realized no one can hear you. Well, that's unfortunate. We've been doing this whole segment and no one can hear Ryan. This continues the fun stuff on my end. Hold on a minute. That's really weird. I'm not sure why no one can hear because we have it set up so you can be heard. Give me a test real quick, sir. Yeah, well, it doesn't like me at all. This is crazy. We fixed everything so I could hear, but apparently no one can hear you, which defeats the purpose, people, of this show. You're supposed to hear the guy talking and not just me. So this is what happens when you upgrade a computer, you set everything back up. It's supposed to work exactly how it's supposed to work, but apparently it's not. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take another quick break, and I'm going to fix this darn problem. Listen to Hoopsville, and Ryan will be back, and we'll try and recap what we were saying that you didn't hear. Back with more after this.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
I coined my definition of success in 1934. My definition of success is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. It's like reputation and character. Reputation is what others perceive you to be. Character is what you are.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Something I discovered.
And welcome back, everybody. We believe we've solved our audio problems with Mr. Ryan Scott, who is joining us via Skype. We'll try and start this all over. Apologize to those who tuned in and thought Ryan wasn't talking.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We have audio.
All right.
Yeah, Ryan was talking. People could see it. Podcast people are going to be beyond confused. But let's kind of recap, by the way, what we were talking about. So we start with, first off, the fact that are you thrilled or not thrilled to the fact that you didn't have to dive into your top 25 this week?
Yeah, it's good. We haven't seen enough games from some of these teams to know really what impression we should get, and so I'm glad we got one more week to sort of see a little bit more.
Yes, another week, certainly. There are certainly teams that I think this week I would have either been holding on to for a little too long because I was giving them a little too much benefit of the doubt, or maybe overreacted to because they lost a couple and maybe I shouldn't have overreacted. I mean, I could see this going many ways. One of them, St. Olaf. I kind of feel bad for him at 0-4. I kind of expected them maybe at a 2-2 start. I saw what they were going to start with. I knew they were going to be tested. But are we overreacting to St. Olaf? Did we maybe think they were too good? What's your take on the Ols?
I think they're a little too high to start off with. I'm not sure they're a top 25 team coming in, but they are a solid team and a good team. And I think we've now got them too low with 0-4. It's a team that's getting used to playing without one of the big producers from last year. So it takes a little bit of growing pains. We were just talking about how unfortunate it is in that conference. They don't get a lot of non-conference games. So they're really going to have to win and get that Pool A automatic bid.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're in their window of error. The error is what I'm trying to get at is slim here. They've kind of used up whatever cachet you could say at a team usually progress. Now, granted, they may steamroll through the conference after this. I don't think so, but they could steamroll through the conference. And a lot of this will be changed, but obviously you got to win the conference anyway. But that's also why we talk about November being just as important as February.
Yeah, I mean, these games that you're getting early in this year, it seems just an unusual amount of really big, high-quality games. Teams have gotten it through their heads that they need to schedule good non-conference opponents, and we're seeing great games all over the place. And so these really are going to matter when it comes around to February and selection.
What other early impressions have you seen in the top 25? I mean, the win by Endicott over MIT certainly jumped out at me. Wheaton's win over Oshkosh, I think, is hard to ignore. I don't want to overreact to those games necessarily, but what else has jumped out at you?
I feel like the number of teams that are playing really well at the beginning of the season, there's usually one or two or three that look like they're in mid-season form when they start, which is a good sign for the end of the year. But it feels like, just so many teams are coming out strong. I'm thinking Nebraska Wesleyan, Whitman and Whitworth have both looked pretty good. Williams started strong. Augustana, Hamilton. I mean, you can just keep going down. As many teams as we've seen stumble a little bit, there have been just as many who've been really, really strong out of the gate.
I'll be honest, Nebraska Wesleyan and Whitman look scary.
Yeah, Nebraska Wesleyan, they don't seem to be lacking any motivation coming off the national championship.
Nope.
They are ready to play. And Whitman, with all the lineup changes and movement that they've got up there, I think they've got a little ways to go, but they're so deep that it's mistakes get covered over pretty quick.
It's true. That's very true. Hey, let's talk conference stuff just a bit, and then we'll dive back into our top 25s. NJAC and Centennial Conference officially get going tonight, Tuesday night, with games, which is one of the reasons we start earlier in the year, is to give teams a little bit more breathing room before conference action starts. There are some other conference games. I think the ODAC has. Now, these games may have been moved, not the ODAC scheduled them, but some games already, I think one or two games started in the ODAC already. I think I saw a couple others otherwhere. But really, tonight's kind of the big push through into conference action. And, these games are, this is a lot of pressure on some teams like Hopkins, for example, who just lost to Salisbury, and teams like New Jersey City who are going to be tested early.
Yeah, I mean, the NJAC especially, I think we could say New Jersey City is maybe not as good as advertised right now.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they won't be by the end of the year, but, having these early conference games are going to be a struggle for them, especially when they haven't quite clicked yet, and there's a lot of good teams to challenge them this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of good teams. The NJAC, I was talking to somebody else. I feel like I don't want to go too far here, and I don't want people to be over or misunderstand what I'm saying. Back in the 90s, the NJAC was a beast. I'm not saying we're there yet, but I do feel like the competition in the NJAC is starting to head, and men's basketball is starting to head back in that direction. We're now getting, it seems like coaches have figured out the recruiting. You know, they had that challenge with the D2 schools, and things have started to slide in the right direction, as it were, in terms of a competitive conference.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing more teams really being competitive. You know, TCNJ started 1 and 2, but I saw parts of 2 of those games, and they played really well. Rowan seems to have figured things out a little bit. They've been not quite putting the pieces together the last couple of years. Ramapo's bringing back, they lost the 5 starters, but they're bringing back a lot of guys with a lot of experience. And even some teams that we would have thought maybe towards the bottom, Rutgers Newark or Rutgers Camden, those schools are not terrible. They're still going to give you trouble every night. And Montclair's sitting there at 3-0. People are voting for them. Yeah, absolutely. Looking good. Now, on the Centennial side, it's a 3-horse race right now. I think, or will be a 3-horse race. We haven't gotten one started. F&M looks pretty solid. Hopkins, though stumbling, I think is going to figure things out. You can't imagine that that's a sign of the things to come necessarily. And, of course, Swarthmore is going to be solid because they've got a lot of those pieces returned. Yeah, Swarthmore, I've been pretty surprised at how quickly they've adapted. They lost 3 seniors last year. Production-wise, I knew it wasn't going to be a big deal, but the chemistry and just replacing what those guys did in terms of leadership, they haven't seemed to miss a beat at all. They've been playing real well. And then on the women's side, New Jersey's NJAC's going to be maybe an up-in-the-air conference. We heard Karen Harvey say that her Montclair State team is maybe not as strong as we've come accustomed to due to graduations. That opens the door for a lot of good teams. And on the Centennial side, well, we kind of expected this to be a battle at the top. Yeah, I mean, Centennial it's tough, you know, and they've got some quality teams, and they're putting a lot of effort into improving. Athletics has been a priority for a lot of these Centennial schools in ways that maybe it hasn't been in recent years, and so you're seeing some really strong teams. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch those 2 conferences. Obviously, other conferences get rolling after Christmas or after Thanksgiving. Some do wait until after Christmas to get conference action going. So obviously, the bulk of the schedule really starting to heat up now in Division III. Let's go back to your and my top 25 quickly. Just talk about maybe some of the surprises or head scratchers on our ballots. I don't know if you have anywhere in particular to start. Obviously, I've got Springfield at number 9, and I'm honestly debating about removing them altogether because I think the loss of Jake Ross is significant enough. I still think they're a good team. I just think without Jake Ross, maybe they're not a top 25 team right now. But this is a gut shot a week before I'm voting in real. I have Springfield number 9 as well, oddly enough. I don't think I'll drop him out entirely. Heath Post picked up a lot of the scoring that Ross has lost, obviously. They're not as deep with someone like Ross who's not in there, but I think they've shown well enough in the games that they've played that I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for sure, especially with the experience they've got there, and some of those young guys have been playing pretty well. I love how everyone figured out we didn't have audio there for a while. I'm seeing all these messages. A couple other things. I've got Oshkosh at 5. I've got MIT at 7. I have Wittenberg. Wittenberg's a little concerning. Maybe I've got them a little too high. I was talking to a coach out there that thinks maybe Wittenberg's a little too overrated. Not that they aren't good, but that what they lost last year was more significant than people like myself were giving it credit for. Yeah, I clearly was wrong on Maryville, at least to start the year. I thought Maryville was going to be a little bit better than they have been. Doesn't mean they won't turn out that way. Yeah. They really had a strong second semester last year, which is kind of what I was building on. Another one, not sure what to make of Hope. They played really well against Greenville and then lost to Simpson, but... that might be the Greenville rust, too. Right. Well, and Simpson had a really terrible first game and then played great at the North Park tournament, so we don't know what to make of them either. And then the WIAC, you know, it didn't feel like Oshkosh or Platteville came out all that strongly, but Stevens Point and Whitewater both did. And Stout played really well. I didn't get to see any of those games, but they I think they're 3-0 or 4-0 now. Who knows what's going to happen there? That could be really tough if there's some inconsistencies.
I have Stevens Point 11, and I'm feeling very confident now with that, and maybe even higher the way their defense is clicking early in the season. I found St. John's. For the person who asked me about St. John's, who was it? It was Joe. Apologize. I was looking for the wrong key. I was looking for an ST, and on my ballot it's spelled out as St. I have them 14th. They're 1-2. We'll have to do a little bit of a readjustment. By the way, I knew Rose was going to be good with the Titans. Oh, he is playing very well for the Titans right now. I liked how Plattsburgh has gotten off the ground so far. I liked, obviously it's a weekend in the NESCAC teams playing, so I'm not overreacting. I have Roanoke 24th. I may have bought in a little bit too hard on Roanoke, the Maroons there. I still think they're going to be a good team and lead the ODAC, but maybe I overcommitted a little bit too much there. But we got another week here, and I said earlier, Springfield, I might take out of my top 25, but in a week's time, I may completely change my mind and still leave them in there. There's a lot still to be figured out.
There are a lot of good games still to come this week. And it's so hard. I usually throw the first game of the season out when I'm considering by the end of the year because, there's just so many factors that go in early.
Yeah.
And this year with even a week less of practice, it's going to take a while to sort of evaluate where teams are at. And the way that they're playing, you see so many teams play that first game poorly.
Yeah.
Or some teams come out gangbusters and then trail
and
off.
lay an egg in the second game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just real difficult. I'm glad we get the extra week because I would not have any clue how to vote if we were voting right now.
I feel good, though. Nebraska Wesleyan 1, Whitman 2, Whitworth 3, Augustana 4. I'm feeling good in my top 4, to be sure.
I had 5. I had Nebraska Wesleyan, Whitman, Whitworth, Williams, and Augustana, and I think all 5 of those came out strong.
I have Williams 8, but I'll be moving them up to be sure. Well, hey, sir, I appreciate you coming on. Sorry for the tech difficulties. You'll be a regular. We look forward to having you back as always. Any final things you're looking at as we head into Thanksgiving here?
No, just this evening. Don't start your holiday just yet. There are a ton of great games to play this evening. MIT struggled a little bit, and they've got tough, so that'll tell us about both teams tonight. Like you said, Centennial starting out, some really good ones. And then, of course, Illinois Wesleyan and Wash U may not be as competitive as it has in previous years, but that's always a big one. So check it out.
Good calls. Absolutely. Great games ahead. Appreciate the time, sir. Take care, and have a great Thanksgiving.
You too.
Thank you. Ryan Scott joining us on the Skype Hoopsville hotline. You actually could hear him. We're proud of that. We finally figured that gremlin out. No reason it shouldn't have worked. Going to take a break. When we get back, we will jump into some of the teams we have been talking about that are not necessarily in the top 25, especially in men's basketball. Endicott and Wheaton's will be on the show here momentarily, and then Messiah women's basketball. But first up, Kevin Bentoncourt from Endicott. Big win over MIT, strong start to the season. We'll talk to him. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA NABC Studios. More Hoopsville after this.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. and we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
And welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this Tuesday edition of the show. Postponed from Sunday due to illness. I'm still trying to battle it. We're hoping the voice survives the whole show. Our coffee is being wrapped up, but it's also cooling down. So, a few things to deal with. If you got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoops or hashtag Hoopsville. Email us hoopsville at D3Hoops.com. Join us on Facebook where we're simulcasting the show, Facebook.com/Hoopsville. You can also chat on the YouTube page as well if needed. We'll try and get to some of your questions and answers and all that fun stuff when we can. All right, so one of the big upsets to start the season was the win by Endicott over number 5 MIT. They seem to have a habit of doing this to some degree. It seems like Endicott, not when you necessarily count them out, but certainly when you may not be looking, will find a big win over a big team. Well, they've done it. They've gotten over MIT. Just lost my headset. Hold on a second, folks. I wouldn't be able to hear the interview if I didn't do that. Joining us on the Hoopsville hotline is the head coach of Endicott. It is Kevin Betancourt. Coach, welcome to the show, and congratulations on an absolutely terrific start. Well, Coach, you there? Now, that is not something we should have any issues with. We have a mic up and everything. Hey, Coach, you there? Wow, it's one of those days, folks.
You got it.
There we are. Coach, can you hear us? Apparently Coach can't hear us. That's a new one. Let's try something here. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, I had you muted. That was my fault.
Oh, I heard something cut out. I wasn't sure exactly what happened.
Hey, welcome, folks, to the technical difficulties that are Hoopsville. If it isn't the beginning of the season, we don't know how to do things incorrectly. Jeez, I'm telling you, we're off to a roaring start here. Anyway, congratulations on a heck of a start. Win over number 5 MIT, obviously, and then you kept it going by wins over Suffolk and Babson. You got to be pretty thrilled with how this Gulls squad has, for lack of a better term, and to use every pun possible, taken flight.
Yeah, no, we've done an excellent job to start the season. Certainly, as we head into Thanksgiving and kind of get to step back and take a couple of days off, it was a nice start. It was good. We're all feeling good going home. Turkey's certainly going to taste a lot better in a few days. So.
We'd be remiss if we told you it was going to be any easier from here. You've got Middlebury coming up on Saturday after Thanksgiving, or Sunday, is that?
Sunday. Yeah,
Sunday, yes, Sunday against Middlebury. Yeah. And then midweek you're going to get into conference play with Curry, followed by the following weekend against, obviously, the big one in the conference, Nichols. So while this is a great start, the hard stuff is still ahead.
Yeah, no question. It doesn't get any easier, and I think also that helps us kind of remain focused on getting better and playing well. We certainly challenged ourselves with the schedule early on. Obviously, growing so we can continue to improve and be at our best towards the end of the season when it matters the most. But we're definitely not. It's definitely getting easy. Puts a big target on your back. So hopefully you can keep playing well and keep momentum going.
Lost a little bit of that, but we got the gist of it. Keith Brown leading the team right now early on with nearly 30 points a game. Matt McDevitt at 11, along with Kyle Henderson. Obviously, the team circles around Kevin Brown to a greater degree. But how much now does the rest of the team need to get involved for when teams like Middlebury and the rest eye up Brown and find every way possible to shut him down?
Yeah, no, I mean, we do have some guys who are capable of certainly making shots and keeping people honest. But, Keith obviously generates a lot of attention. And, every time I think he can't surprise me anymore. He comes up with another great performance. And, this past week he was pretty special. But we do have a lot of really talented kids. And, there's a lot that goes into getting Keith those kind of shots that allow him to do that. And our players complement each other pretty well. So hopefully they keep growing together. And, that freshman Kyle Henderson you mentioned, he's got a lot of ability. So hopefully he can, kind of step up there and keep going from that good performance he had against Babson on Sunday. Excuse me.
Brown shooting 53% early in this season, 64% from beyond the arc, 22 of 36. Yeah. That can't continue.
No, that definitely can't. But he's a pretty special one. I think he's one of the best scorers I've certainly seen since I've been in coaching. But he got off to a great start shooting. He actually kind of battled a little minor injury, so he missed some practice time too. But some good ones. They're going to go in. So hopefully, working on the ball, going.
We're losing a little bit of you, Coach. I don't know if you're moving around or not, but we're getting bits and pieces on that last one. But certainly talking about the good shooting from Brown. By the way, 61%. The other good shooter is Matt McDivitt at 12 for 23 from beyond the arc. You clearly have, including Henderson as a freshman, a lot of other weapons, and so that will be beneficial. What is the message going into Thanksgiving ahead of that Middlebury game to this team? Do you try in some ways kind of pop the ego bubble, as it were?
No, I mean, I didn't do that. We sent them home, yesterday. Didn't do that. I want the guys to feel good. I think confidence is important. We're playing some teams that have some pretty special, teams and long traditions. But I want our guys to be confident, go in and feel as if we can play and beat anybody. So I didn't really do that, but I certainly brought up the challenge of staying grounded. I think if we get a little bit ahead of ourselves, it's going to go the other way. So, I always talk about if this is the best week of our season, then it's probably been a disappointing one.
Yeah.
Because we definitely want to, have this kind of week towards the end where we can accomplish something special. But really proud of the start we had for sure.
Again, Middlebury coming up. Then you get into conference play, Curry and then Nichols. And obviously the most important thing is to take care of business in the conference. This is a conference which you were 12-6 last year, but 15-3 the year before, 12-6 the year before that, 16-2 the year before that. You've had kind of years where you've quote-unquote dominated, and I'm using that term a little loosely, and then other years where it's been a little bit more of a struggle. What do you see this conference lining up this year with, obviously, Nichols under a new head coach, but most of the team back, and then the rest of this conference? How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of early to tell. Obviously, in the beginning of the season, everybody's probably, and should be optimistic. Nichols has a ton of talent, and until somebody bumps them off, I mean, they've won it 2 years in a row now, so until somebody bumps them off, I think, we got to all say it's going through them. But we have a lot of really talented teams, and, I think, some veteran coaches coming back, and I think the conference will be very challenging. Gordon's always really difficult. I think we tied with them last regular season. Mm-hmm. They returned the bulk of their players. They have two really special, talented kids that were all conference last year back. So, and there's several others. I don't want to start naming some because I'll leave somebody out accidentally, and then I'll be held against us. But no, I think the conference has challenged our program to grow, and when we have chances like we had this past week to play some teams like MIT and Babson and others, and we're able to bump them off. That's all because of the tests we've gone through within our conference. I know, we're trying to grow and get that, notoriety so we can try to get more teams in that tournament. But, the conference is still the most challenging part of our schedule, always is. So hopefully we can get through that.
We should point out the game against MIT, you went 90-70, or 40. You won 90-73. You won 41-26 in the first 15 minutes of that game. Certainly nothing to shake a stick at. Last year, obviously, the season came to an end in a heartbreaking loss to Nichols. We're not that far removed from this program making the NCAA tournament, getting to the Sweet 16 before Middlebury steamrolled you guys. So the guys are familiar with what this ultimate goal is. Does it take them hard to remember how they're going to need to work to get there?
No, I think that I think a lot of these guys are able to see it, but we not a ton of them were getting minutes on that team. We had 6 seniors on that Sweet 16 team. We kind of turned the roster over a little bit last year. I think our roster had 8 freshmen last year. So, really even experiences like losing that championship game at Nichols, we grew a lot during the season last year. We were playing really well at the end. Coming up a little bit short, I did think motivated us, and hopefully will, stay as a reminder that we gotta play hard and well throughout the whole year, not just, for this first week. But a lot of our guys, those seniors that we had in the Sweet 16 team, certainly set a great tone every day and a positive example. And now these other guys, now that they're getting the chance to get the minutes on game day, I think they're, excited and trying to follow that lead.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Quick question before we let you go is, what are your Thanksgiving plans? You know what's going to be on the dinner table at the very least.
Yeah, me and my wife are, both living still in our hometown, so we got a lot of family around us. We got a meal at 1:00 at my in-laws, and then we head over to my aunt's at 6. So I'll be fed well.
I was going to say, plenty of turkey, plenty of stuffing, and plenty of other stuffing.
Exactly.
I know the feeling. Well, congratulations. I know you'll be thankful about the start to the season. We wish you luck the rest of the way. We'll keep an eye on the goals, and good luck not only with Middlebury on Sunday and Nichols the following weekend, but the rest of the season. We'll talk to you soon.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Take care. Kevin Bentoncourt joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline. Again, team terrific start to the season for them with a win over MIT. That win, 41-26 start in the first 15 minutes, they don't win 90-73. There's nothing wrong with the way they started that season to any degree. The win over Babson, 97-88. I didn't want to gloss over that, but Babson, let's be honest, is not the same program that won a national championship a year and a half ago. That's just the reality of things, but they're still good. The real test is going to be Middlebury on this Sunday, and then obviously Curry and Nichols in conference play next week. That's when we're going to know what the goals are really going to be made of, and look forward to seeing where that may lead. Take another break. When we come back, we'll keep with the men's basketball theme and the upset theme. Wheaton, thanks to their stud guard Ashton Francis, got a heck of a win over UW Oshkosh, the number 2 team in the country, according to the preseason poll. We'll talk to their head coach, Mike Schauer, about what does that mean for Wheaton, and what does it mean for the rest of the CCIW? You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com, and, of course, our computer system decides to crash. I thought we were going to get past this, folks. We made a bunch of changes behind the scenes. It's not the computer, it's the software. Here's what's going to happen. I am going to try and keep the streams going on their respective channels. We made some efforts to do that. The problem is, on Facebook, I almost can promise you we'll start on a new stream. On YouTube, I'm hoping we can hold the stream that was there. If it's not, we're going to have to start a new one. It's a pain, but it's part of this whole process that we tried to start to get us to somewhere new. Anyway, we'll figure it out when we come back after we get this computer software up and running. I kid you not, right? We will be throwing the baby out with the bathwater maybe by accident, but